and the closed Norton Air Force Base, where an anti-gravity device, so-called alien reproduction vehicle, for which we have the schematics, was seen by Frank Carlucci and others on our witness team. Tabletop Mountain and Blackjack Control. The aerospace facilities there are the Northrop Anthill Facility, Teton Ranch, the McDonnell Douglas Llano Plant, Lockheed Martin Hallandale Plant, and the Phillips Lab. At the Nellis Air Force Facility, so-called Area 51, no one calls it that. There's S4 and S12, Hood Mesa, Groom Lake, and a number of sub-facilities. The most important facility is in Utah, near Provo, the Dugway Proving Grounds, all of which is underground, and the airspace above it is classified. There are no roads into this facility. The New Mexico facilities include Los Alamos National Labs with underground connectors to the so-called Dulce area where the biological work is being done, and Kirtland Air Force Base, and the complex there includes Sandia National Laboratories, Phillips Labs, Manzano Mountain Weapons Storage Facility, Coyote Canyon, and the White Sands Complex. In Arizona, near Fort Huachuca, which is Army Intelligence Headquarters, there is a UGB underground base where one of our witnesses who will testify worked on 9 separate extraterrestrial vehicles that had been down through advanced electromagnetic pulse weapons, and there are several different species of extraterrestrial biologicals stored at that facility. The other facilities, and this goes on, include a special compartmented area of Cheyenne Mountain, where we have witnesses in our team who can be subpoenaed, where we have tracked extraterrestrial vehicles in our solar system that were measuring 26 miles in diameter. There are also facilities in Australia, key one being Pine Gap, the so-called Alice Springs facility, which is mostly a U.S. Air Force facility, even though it is in Australia. I recently talked to the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia about this. Also, the Redstone Arsenal and the Marshall Space Flight Center. We have a scientist at the Redstone Arsenal who works under contract for IT&T, who have developed these transdimensional systems. He was under contract with my project to bring these energy devices out, and he was then threatened by a former CIA director and what I call the Goon Squad that went down there 3 years ago in March. This is just part of the information we have, and this information is on the flash drive given to Stephen Bassett's staff that you're all welcome to review. Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Dr. Stephen M. Greer is merely spinning his wheels due to the fact that most of these members of Congress are aliens themselves, wearing human forms as a disguise. Black people's carbon, melanin, kills the gray aliens and incapacitates these albino reptilians who the grays can and do shapeshift into for certain reasons of their own. They also unplug their Caucasian creation at will from the standard soul matrix and plug them into parallel universes, and take their doppelganger twin and plug them into this matrix, operating at a level above their ability to perceive. They also project holographic inserts into their creation, like the David Koresh and his branch Davidians, or the Heaven Gates group led by Marshall Applewhite. They have been manipulating these illusions their creation has been experiencing for thousands of years. They created the Christian church as a major playground for themselves for such holographic illusionary inserts, and then laugh at how the ignorant congregation runs around like albino mice. These grays' own physical forms are deteriorating, and every hour their Caucasian creation dies from their inability to create melanin. It will be interesting to see the outcome of the planets ascending to fifth dimension, Mutara, which will probably kill off their weak DNA creation. They have all fallen into the Supreme Being's trap and will die from a lack of melanin and righteousness. The white Superman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and all the other Caucasian comic book characters they vicariously live through only enhance their insanity to anything real, which they do not possess, from their phony German Jesus image to the pirates of the Caribbean, who were the African humans changed into white folks by this insanity to dominate and control by stealing black people's creations and culture and superimposing their Eurocentric images upon. This Nazi phony superior concept has to be a combination of the grades and the Alpha Draconians' insanity to dominate and control everything they come in contact with. There is no heart chakra there which exists, which is where their love of the double cross as an apex of their existence emanates from. The albino reptilian Jehovah wears the double cross on his shoes, and the Queen of England wears the double cross around her neck. These two demonic groups cannot teach their creation about higher dimensional beings because they would lose control over them, which is their greatest fear. They would have to kill them off before they themselves die off, knowing they have thousands of years of technology more advanced than what they have provided the United States military industrial complex with. In addition to controlling the military, they control the 85% of the political structure of the United States and its Western allies. Surprisingly enough, there are some benevolent grays here also making sure these bad guy Zetas do not initiate World War III like they impulse World War I and World War II through their created beings. With this present ascension energy dominating this planet, the positive inhabitants can make major strides towards a benevolent future, divorced from the business of war. The present infantile thinking of the powers that be cannot move them into higher dimensional worlds. An arrogant, ignorant Caucasian male got angry with me the other day for telling the truth and said that without Western civilization, there would be no computers. He is too dumb to know that humans and humanoids have been flying spaceships for hundreds of billions of years. He is a typical example of how dumb they keep their creation, no beings they have made here on planet
What are we?
in Western devilization.
That control the power of a planet? Are we type 2 that control the power of a star? Are we type 3 that can control galaxies, alter the fabric of space and time? No. We are type 0. We get our energy from dead plants, oil and coal. But take out a calculator. How long will it take for us to become type 1? The answer is 100 years. Around the year 2100, we will become a type 1 civilization. And we see the beginnings of that now. What is the internet? The internet is a type 1 telephone system. We are privileged to be alive, to see the birth of a Type 1 telephone system. What is the European Union? The European Union is the beginning of a Type 1 economy. Why are we here today? We are seeing the birth of a Type 1 economy. So, let me tell you that we are now witnessing the greatest transition in the history of the human race. Transition from Type 0 to Type 1. The generation now alive is privileged to see the birth pangs of the birth of a new civilization, Type 1. Planetary energy, planetary economy.
The roads to higher dimensional existence is the marriage between the righteousness and high degrees of consciousness, and not one's physical acquisitions, greed, and selfishness. Prime Creator gave its consciousness equally across the board. Subsequently, there is no greater you or less than me, or vice versa. For example, the ignorant, savage Caucasians who slaughtered the Native American Indians so they could steal their land, enslaved the Africans, not knowing the higher dimensionals who are the direct relatives can now exact the wages of karma for these transgressions, and they are using the weather as a weapon to demolish miles upon miles of property during this bad luck 13 for the adversary. The human abuse caused by arrogance and ignorance then and now to the direct bloodline relatives of those advanced humans who are the ones that constructed this galaxy, then operated a spacecraft civilization here on Earth for some 560 million years before taking this advanced technology to the inner Earth, so that the appearance of a primitive, non-technological people would confront the Europeans when they came here. Sure enough, like their demonic creators, they attacked, slaughtered, raped, and enslaved because they were too savage and unrighteous to know the entire universe was watching them as the planet was recording every breath back then and still to this very day. As the spaceships exit the interior, have its own NATO bases and operations from the surface and underneath, like the new CIA facility from Virginia to Colorado, as tornadoes pound Colorado and Oklahoma surface, destroying thousands and thousands of cars and property. Payback karma is no joke as you watch your shit go up in smoke.
Told you. Everybody knows that the weather is getting your asses, paying you for what you
The bottom line is that the government is getting what they have ordered. They're getting what they have paid for. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, game shows, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained, so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. And all American citizens, I think, have suspected something like this is going on.
1972, Rothschild controlled IBM, invents the Universal Product Code, which will eventually be on virtually every item traded worldwide and contain the number 666. 1978.